Because, their God is not the real God. The Muslim God is not the real God. We're just going to keep on saying that. The Muslim God is not the real God. In fact, the Muslim God is the devil himself. That's what we have to say about Allah. Allah is a liar. He lies a lot. Anyways,
La la la.
yeah, so I found that interesting that this guy is supposedly going around now calling for the offing of President Trump. And President Trump had responded basically saying, he didn't really respond to that per se, but he was basically saying that the what was he saying? Let me just see if I can pull it up here. One second. That the death to America chants in Tehran, and this guy was basically saying that he's saying that if Iran, basically all he's saying is that if Iran does bring uranium or does enrich uranium again, he's going to strike. He also said that that he knew where Khamenei was, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, that he knew where he was, and that he could have killed him if he wanted to, and but that Donald Trump saved him from a very egregious death. And so that's where
I
this whole
saved
thing
you
kind
from
of
death. Satan, I
saved him.
saved
Yeah,
you.
Trump, he saved him from death. I saved him. You know how Donald Trump gets,
I
but
could have put 15
could have been very
bombs.
ugly.
I could, 30,000 pounds could have been on top of your head, but you're still alive. It's all due to me.
Hey, by the way, we got to give it up to Sapphire. Sapphire, who said that she has sin fatigue. I don't know if you saw that. She's tired of hearing about sin. I thought that was hilarious, actually. And then let's see.
I
This
don't see
brother
that comment.
says,
Just as I says, I
yeah,
see. I
and
have
then
communist
X
fatigue.
X Nilo. Yeah, well, it's up there. It's a little bit further up. It's right underneath the elephant. When we were talking about the elephant in the room. Anyways, and then yeah, this guy says I have communist fatigue. Uh, Ex Nilo. Thought that was pretty funny too.
Oh, here.
Um,
And by the way, nobody wants to join Faith the Nation podcast, huh? Nobody wants to
yeah.
go to faiththenation.tv. Nobody.
Chank
Sapphire,
doesn't want to face us. Nobody wants to face us,
Sapphire, come on.
Matt.
Come on to the show for a second. Will you please go to faithnation.tv, click the button, join the show. Somebody join the show. I want you to be right here. Come on
But
now.
these this Iranian nationalist that have come across the U.S. amid sleeper cell concerns, this whole Iranian nationalist stuff, that there's sleeper cells. This is what the left was basically feeding down fear into the American population. Was talking about, oh, Donald Trump is upsetting the Ayatollahs, and by bombing Iran, and we've got all these sleeper cells, Iranian nationalists in this country, and these sleeper cells. Well, guess who let them in here? The Democrats. So now it's the Democrats. You see, that's how the Democrats want to gaslight people, right? That's how they want to try to scare you. Number one, they're the ones that let them in here in the first place under the last administration. They let them in here, and then now they want to use, oh, that there's Iranian nationalists in here in this country, sleeper cells. Donald Trump is going to upset the Iranian nationalists in this country. Anyways, I digress. I just wanted to say that. That was a point I really wanted to make. But yeah, man, I don't know. What's next?
Well, let's see here. We could play a clip of Bill Maher, Robert E. Lee, GOP rep schools Bill Maher over Trump putting Robert E. Lee back on buildings.
Nah, that's dumb. Oh, you know what we could do? Let's talk about this. This is big. This was big.
That's
The
that's
yeah, I don't want to talk
no.
about that. Yeah, that's dumb.
How
um,
about you got
share
the
my
hidden
screen. This
camera?
is good.
You got the hidden camera of the Trump Faith Office group speaking in tongues on the White House grounds. Also dumb. Your screen
Oh,
shared.
we can talk about that.
Your screen shared. You're good. Go ahead. Your screen's up.
Supreme Court. I thought this was really big. This is good for MAGA. This is good for Christians. This is good for America. The Supreme Court we had some major victories in the Supreme Court. It was like one right after another. Like everything that really happened this past week, over the past week, was really just win after win after win after win. Uh, we struck Iran's nuclear program, eliminated them. We had 0 deaths of American troops. No American troops died. The retaliation from Iran towards American bases in the region, practically nothing happened. A little bit of damage here and there, but that was about it. No Americans' lives lost. That was a win. We struck a ceasefire deal. It's a little shaky. It's a little rocky. But as of right now, we have a ceasefire deal and what is now being called the 12-day war between Iran and Israel. And so that's a win. CNN is now admitting, first they were saying that the bombing on Iranian nuclear program was minor damage, or it didn't do significant damage. It was only a little bit. And it just wasn't enough, or this and that. Well, now they're coming back. They're backpedaling a little bit. And they're saying now that there's actually was significant damage there. And so now all the details that is coming out is that, yes, their nuclear program is practically destroyed, completely demolished. So that's a win.
But
then
they're also saying that they don't know where the uranium is, right?
Well, that's fine, but because you still need the factory to translate them into bombs, right? So you can have the uranium, but if you don't have the factories to translate them into to bombs, then
I don't know about that because it's about the time frame it takes in order to enrich the uranium. So if you're gonna be successful in your mission, you would need to take the stockpiles. It takes time in order to enrich your uranium and get rid of that.
That is what yeah. I mean, obviously, the enriched uranium is a big factor. I mean, that's what you need to make a bomb.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, bro.
The facilities.
I'm really wondering if it really was one of these things where Trump's like, "Hey, we're going to attack your 3 bomb sites. You can go ahead and get your uranium on there. We've got to get a win for Israel." Maybe that is really what happened. Like this whole thing was just like a weirdo thing.
I don't think so. I really think it was a sneak attack. I really think I don't.
You saw the pictures of the trucks lined up at the Fordham site beforehand.
Yeah, but dude, but that was
what?
Yeah. You don't sneak enriched uranium in dump trucks. That's not what you do.
How do you know?
Dude, they had
When's
like
the last time you handled
dump
uranium?
trucks. It was 800 pounds. How do you transport 800 pounds in 17 dump trucks?
How'd you build the pyramids?
Dude, 800 pounds of enriched uranium? That's like, you can fit that in the back of my van.
For all we know, they have like an airport.
You don't need 17 dump trucks.
For all we know, they have like a moving...
trucks were there. No, the 17 dump trucks were there to try to cement the weak points of they were trying to dump concrete into the vents, the air vents that were leading down to the shafts into the mountain to aerate the facility. They were trying to close up the fronts. That's what they were trying to do. Okay.
But then why wouldn't we have...
They weren't sneaking out 800 pounds of uranium.
At
least not there. If they were going to sneak out enriched uranium, they would have done it at least during the start when Trump said 60 days. 60 days. You have 60 days
unless he gave him a phone
to make
call
a deal.
and he's like, "We're gonna, yeah." I mean, I don't know. But I do find it suspicious because why wouldn't there be radiation leaks, and why wouldn't there, like, Saudi Arabia has all these detection mechanisms?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They probably, if they took it out, it wasn't a couple days before the strike.
Okay.
It would have been
so maybe that's
a couple
fair.
Months ago.
But I think we can say them so that that would lean credibility to the fact that maybe this was all a big facade. I get it. Maybe there was like a conveyor belt like they have at the airport when you put your laundry in, and it's just like taking all the uranium out. It's like, and like, who knows? But we have satellites, and we have satellites which can literally watch you inside of your house from outer space. You would think that they would really know what's happening over there, like for real. Like they should be able to go back chronologically, look at those satellites, and have satellite imagery over Iran to know exactly what's taking place. I don't know. I know it's the conspiracy side of me, but I think we very much do know where it was, when it was removed, where it was taken to. You know, the CNN and the stuff tries to say it was taken to this other mountain. What was it called? Like Sneaky Mountain or something? You saw that? You saw that post?
I didn't. I missed that one.
It was something. It was a mountain thingy. I don't know. Anything could be happening.
Anyways,
Ever since,
going back,
yeah.
there was a lot of victories. Okay, now we had the Supreme Court that gave out major wins for the Trump administration, and I really some of these are actually wins for sanity, wins for the Christian values. Supreme Court, if you could share my screen, Matt. Supreme Court paves a way
Yes,
for
sure.
South Carolina and other states to defund Planned Parenthood. So, South Carolina was trying to defund Planned Parenthood, and basically, Planned Parenthood went to court over it and went all the way up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court held that South Carolina, as a state, has the right to withhold state funds to Planned Parenthood. And that's only going to lead the way to other states like Texas, like a lot of the very conservative states. I wouldn't even necessarily say Florida is really that conservative in that manner, but there's definitely a lot of states that are going to be following suit, and I think that's a win, definitely for life. There was another Supreme Court decision that made way for the United States and for the Trump administration, where the nationwide injunctions, where you had these federal courts, these district courts that were basically making rulings, that saying, hey, Trump, you can't, deport so and so to this country or that country because that's not their original country. So the Supreme Court basically said, no, district courts, federal courts, you are overstepping your bounds. That is an executive branch decision. You cannot interfere in those decisions.
Hey
So
Zephyr,
that was
come back on if you're Zephyr. You connected for a second. Come back on if you're there. I didn't see you. Sorry.
That's okay. Also, again, another Supreme Court. There was a bunch of them. Supreme Court. It seems like the Supreme Court finally decided to clock in for work. It seems like, but a U.S. Supreme Court decision Wednesday upholding Tennessee's ban on gender affirming care for minors is leaving transgender children and their parents uncertain and anxious about the future. Praise God. Basically, it's that this Tennessee had put a ban on gender affirming care. Now that sounds very deceptive, like it's care for minors, when it's really the opposite of care. It is destruction of minors, where you are affirming a minor's decision to transition to another gender, right? And so the Supreme Court upheld Tennessee's ban on it. That's a win. These are wins that, I mean, we really do. We really have to get to this point. Unfortunately, yes, this is where we're at in society. That we've gone so far away from, biblical teachings that uh, we consider things like this that is common sense. It's a big win for us. Um, that could be a little bit part of our judgment, so to speak, but nonetheless, I believe these are steps in the right direction. And when we take a step in the right direction, it doesn't mean that we stop, we get lackadaisical, but the mission continues. We must continue marching forward, and we can't stop here. We have to continue. But those are wins.
Amen.
Is Sister Sapphire on? She's our first guest.
She was about to, but I wasn't paying attention because I had the notification thing. I just texted her. She'll try it again. Yes. Well,
So anyways, yeah, some big wins, brother Matt, in the Supreme Court. I don't know if you were able to catch some of those.
yes. Well, that basically where we're allowing the district courts are slowly being silenced and being indicated as their interventions as being unconstitutional. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, look, I mean, of course it's unconstitutional. You're overstepping your boundaries. You're coming into the executive branch and saying